Students, in this part we will discuss regarding law of demand. So, what is law of demand? Its definition, tabular and diagrammatic representation, and its exceptions. So, at first, we'll start our discussion, and the topic is law of demand. Law of demand expresses the basic psychology of the consumers. It expresses the basic psychology of the consumers, or it is based on the psychology of the consumer. Consumers are generally ready to purchase more of a commodity at a lower price and less of a commodity at a higher price. From everybody's experience, as a consumer, we know that we purchase more of a commodity when its price is low, and we purchase less of a commodity when its price is high. So, this tendency of human being, this tendency of every consumer is expressed through the law of demand. So, from our experience, we know that we purchase more of a commodity at a lower price and less of a commodity at a higher price. Demand for a commodity expands with a fall in price and contracts with a rise in price. Right? So, we can use expansion and contraction of demand in this case due to a change in price. Demand there, it causes a change in demand, but when the price of a commodity falls, there is expansion of demand, and when there is a rise in price, it leads to contraction of demand. There is always an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. They do not go in same direction. Normally, there is an inverse relationship. There is an opposite relationship in between price and quantity demanded of any commodity. This inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded is just expressed through the law of demand. So, from the very experience of every consumer, every buyer, that he buys or consumes more of a commodity at a lower price and less of a commodity at a higher price. And this tendency of human being is just converted to the law of demand, and it is expressed through the law of demand. The law of demand states that other things remaining constant, more is the demand at a lower price and less is the demand at a higher price. Very important, the term other things remaining constant. We will discuss it after some minutes. But other things remaining constant, other things means, students, here the things or the factors that influence the demand or the factors that determine the demand. These factors remaining constant, more is the demand at a lower price and less is the demand at a higher price. So, law of demand states only a change in price, keeping all other factors constant. Keeping all other factors constant, if price of a commodity changes, quantity demanded of that commodity will also change, and they will go in opposite direction. According to Professor Samuelson, law of demand states that people will buy more at a lower price and less at higher prices if other things remaining the same. The same thing is mentioned here by Professor Samuelson. All Dr. Alfred Marshall also stated the same line in his definition. So, law of demand states that people will buy more at a lower price and less at a higher price if other things remaining the same. Then only this law will hold good, right? In this definition, other things refers to the factors influencing demand other than price. So, price of a commodity itself is the main factor which influence or determine the quantity demanded of a good. Remember it. But excluding price, other factors are there which also influence our demand. Demand for a commodity is influenced by many factors like price of the commodity, price of related goods, consumers' income, population size, taste and preference, habit, custom, price, habit, custom. Then what are they? Taxation policy of the government, right? Then state of economic condition, right? So there are various factors which we already have studied in our determinants of demand in previous chapters. We have already studied it, factors determining demand. These factors remaining constant only if there comes a price, there occurs a change in price, then there will be a change in quantity demanded, and price and quantity demanded, they go in opposite direction. That is what law of demand is. So we have already defined the law of demand. As a law of demand states that people will buy more at a lower price and less at higher prices if other things remaining the same. And what are the other things we have discussed? They are the price of the commodity. Other things, that is price of the commodity is not included. Other things includes price of related goods, consumers' income, population size, taste and preference, habit, custom, then the tax policy of the government, state of economic condition, etc. Right? These factors remaining constant only with a change in price, quantity demanded of a commodity changes, that is studied in law of demand. It is assumed in the law that by keeping all other factors fixed, only if price of a commodity changes, its demand changes in opposite direction. So remember it, students. It is assumed in this law that by keeping all other factors fixed, we have not mentioned the assumptions of the law separately because it is included in this line only, that all other factors that influence demand must remain fixed or constant, right? The income of the consumer must remain constant, that is one assumption. Taste and preference of the customer must remain constant, that is another assumption. Similarly, the price of related goods must remain constant. The consumer must be a normal person, and the taxation policy of the government and state of economic condition, they must also remain constant. The population size must remain constant. These are the assumptions. These are the factors which influence the demand for a commodity, and if these factors remain constant, then with a change in price, its demand changes in opposite direction. With a change in price of a commodity, its demand changes in opposite direction. This change in quantity demanded due to change in price is studied in law of demand. In the law of demand, price is independent variable, whereas demand is dependent variable on the price of goods. Price is independent variable. So law of demand studies the relationship between two variables, their price and quantity demanded, and price is here is independent variable. Quantity demanded is a dependent variable because it always depends on price. With a change in price, it goes just in opposite direction. Then the law of demand may be explained with the help of following demand schedule. It shows different quantities of commodity X purchased at the respective prices. You see below in the table, demand schedule is given. We have not mentioned here whether it is individual demand schedule and whether it is market demand schedule, because it is demand schedule we will take. In case of individual demand schedule, the law of demand applies, as well as in case of market demand schedule, the law of demand applies. So we need not take the case of individual or market demand schedule. We can generally take demand schedule because in both the cases it is applied, right? So the law of demand may be explained with the help of following demand schedule. It shows different quantities of commodity X purchased at their respective prices. You see in the demand schedule below, in the first column, price per unit of commodity X in rupees is given, and in the second column, quantity demanded of X in units is given. So when the price of the commodity was rupees 10 per unit of X, only 20 units of commodity X were demanded in the market. When the price of the commodity falls from rupees 10 to rupees 8 per unit, then the quantity demanded goes up from 20 units to 40 units. Similarly, when the price of the commodity falls to rupees 6 per unit, rupees 4 per unit, and rupees 2 per unit of X, quantity demanded increases to 60 units, 80 units, and 100 units respectively. So, from this table, we can see that there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. When price goes on falling, quantity demanded goes on rising, right? We can explain the table now. Demand schedule. In the above demand schedule shows expansion of quantity demanded of X due to fall in price of X, right? It shows the expansion of quantity demanded of X due to a fall in the price of X. When price of the commodities is rupees 10 per unit in the market, only 20 units are demanded. With a fall in price to rupees 8 per unit, 40 units are demanded. And with a further fall in price of X to rupees 6, rupees 4 and rupees 2 respectively, its demand rises to 60 units, 80 units and 100 units. We have already discussed it. With a fall in price from rupees 10 to 8, 6, 4 to rupees respectively, its demand expands from 20 units to 40 units, from 40 to 60, 60 to 80 and 80 to 100. So, with a fall in price, quantity demanded expands. It is seen in this demand schedule, right? So, it proves the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded of the commodity. It is further illustrated. So, it is all about the demand schedule. First, we have written an introduction regarding the common experience of the consumers, that they generally buy less of a good at a higher price and more of a good at a lower price. Then we came to the definition in the next paragraph, and we have defined the law of demand, that other things remaining constant, more is the demand at a lower price and less is the demand at a higher price. Then, after explaining what other things are, we came to the demand schedule to explain the law. And after drawing the demand schedule, we have just explained the demand schedule. Then we will go to the diagram showing the demand curve. So it is further illustrated with the help of the following demand curve. You see demand curve for commodity X, OX, OY. In OX horizontal line, quantity demanded is taken, and in OY vertical line, price of the commodity is taken. DD dash is the demand curve, right? And A, B, C, D and E are the various points which shows just the price quantity demanded relationship. In what price, how much demanded. You see, point A indicates that when the price of the commodity is rupees 10, 20 units are demanded. It is shown by point A in the diagram. Similarly, point B shows that when the price of the commodity falls to rupees 8 per unit of the commodity, its demand expands to 40 units. Similarly, when the price becomes 6 rupees per unit, its quantity demanded expands to 60 units. Similarly, with a fall in price to rupees 4 and rupees 2 respectively, the quantity demanded goes up to 80 units and 100 units. And these are shown by various points like A, B, C, D and E in the diagram. After plotting the points A, B, C, D, E, when we join them through straight lines, it will give us the DD dash demand curve. And we can see that the DD dash demand curve is sloping downward from left to right, just to indicate the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So, in the diagram, quantity demanded of commodity X is taken on OX axis and price of commodity X is taken on OY axis. When the market price was rupees 10 per unit of X, only 20 units were demanded. This is indicated by point A in the diagram. When the market price falls to rupees 8 per unit, quantity demanded increased to 40 units in the market, which is denoted by point B in the diagram. You see, then with a fall in the price of X to rupees 6, rupees 4 and rupees 2 respectively, their demand expanded to 60 units, 80 units and 100 units. This is shown by point C, point D and point E respectively. And so this is shown by diagram point C, D, E respectively. By joining the points A, B, C, D and E through a straight line, we get the demand curve D, D dash, right? It is already seen by joining the points A, B, C, D and E respectively through a straight line, we get D, D dash demand curve. And the demand curve D, D dash slopes downwards from left to right. Downward slope of the demand curve is an expression of the law of demand. It means it expresses the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded, what the law of demand is. So this, from this downward sloping demand curve, we know that there is inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Next, the main causes for which the law of demand operates are: why actually, why the law of demand operates? Why demand for a commodity goes up with a fall in price, and why demand for a commodity falls with a rise in price? What are the causes? And these causes can be expressed in 4 points. The number one is operation of the law of diminishing marginal utility. Number two is income effect, and number three is substitution effect, and number four is change in number of consumers. You see, first one is operation of the law of diminishing marginal utility. Why? Due to the operation of the law of diminishing marginal utility, the law of demand operates. Why more is demanded with a fall in price and less is demanded with a rise in price? So, you see, from law of diminishing marginal utility, we know that when we consume more and more units of a particular commodity, we get less and less satisfaction out of it, or we get less and less marginal utility from every successive units of the commodity consumed. So, to equalize the marginal utility of a commodity with its price, when the price of a commodity falls, every consumer has to purchase more of that commodity just to equalize the marginal utility of the commodity with the marginal utility of price, so that he can get maximum satisfaction. So, in order to equalize the marginal utility of the commodity with its price, he is going to purchase more of a commodity at a less price, at a lower price, and less of a commodity at a higher price. Number two is income effect. You see, when the price of a commodity falls, his real income increases. And with this surplus income, he can purchase more of the commodity. That's why more of the commodity can be purchased with lower price. Similarly, when price of a commodity goes up, his real income falls, for which he has to purchase less of the commodity. Next, number three is substitution effect. When there occurs a change in price of a commodity, we have to substitute some goods for it. For example, if the price of a commodity increases, we will substitute our want, we will use to satisfy our want a substitute good. So we have to reduce the demand for that commodity with an increase in price and take the substitute goods in its place. Similarly, when the price of a commodity falls, instead of purchasing other commodities, we will purchase more of the commodity at a lower price so that its demand expands. And number four is change in number of consumers. Naturally, with an increase in the size of population, the number of consumers also increases. And with an increase in number of consumers, more will be demanded even at the same price, right? Or more will be demanded at the lower price, right? So with the change in number of consumers, another thing is that when a price of a commodity falls, new consumers will come to purchase it, and when the price of a commodity rises, some consumers will go out of the market and use other commodities, In this case also the law of demand operates, or more is demanded at a lower price and less is demanded at a higher price, and these are the main causes for which the law of demand operates. Then we will go to its exceptions. What are the limitations or exceptions of the law? The law of demand states that there is an opposite relationship between price and quantity demanded, but there are certain exceptions to this law. What are the exceptions? Exceptions means the conditions under which law will not hold good, the conditions under which the law will not operate. They are the exceptions. And what are the exceptions? Number one is Giffen goods. Giffen goods, named after Sir Robert Giffen, are those inferior goods on which the consumer spends a large part of his income and the demand for which falls with a fall in their price. Uh, the demand curve for this has a positive slope. The consumers of such goods are mostly the poor. A rise in their price causes more of their demand, and a fall in the price causes less of their demand. When the price of inferior goods fall, the demand may not rise because extra purchasing power caused by fall in prices is diverted on purchase of some superior goods. For instance, if price of inferior food grains like jawar falls, people may demand less of it and instead start eating wheat or rice. They will substitute other goods. So inferior goods are those goods which whose demand falls with a fall in prices. Whose demand falls with a fall in their price, because when their price falls, people will prefer to purchase more of superior goods, more of normal goods instead of inferior goods. When the price of inferior goods falls, inferior goods are goods which are generally used by inferior people, or you can say the poor mass, and mostly they use inferior goods because they are poor. They have to live in the society, they have to exist in life. So these inferior goods are consumed by them, generally consumed by them, but if their price falls, with a fall in their price, their real income increases, and with this extra income they are going to purchase superior goods instead of these inferior goods. We have already taken an example that when the price of jawar falls, jawar is inferior good, they purchase less of jawar and start eating wheat and rice. Similarly, in case of inferior goods also, a rise in the price causes more of their demand. When price of this commodity rises, the price of other commodities also rise, and they are unable to purchase more of other commodities, the superior commodities. Instead, with a rise in price, they purchase more of the inferior goods, and with a fall in price, they purchase less of the inferior goods. Next, we will come to the second exception. So, in case of inferior goods, the law of demand does not operate because with a fall in price, less is demanded, and with a rise in price, more is demanded. This is just the opposite of the law of demand. Next, we will come to the second point, that is prestige goods or status symbol goods. In case of prestige goods or in case of status symbol goods, also this law will not operate. Some expensive commodities like diamonds, air conditioned cars, costly ornaments, etc., are used as status symbol to display one's wealth. They are the goods just to show one's vanity, sense of vanity. Right? You can say they are conspicuous consumption. Their consumption is conspicuous consumption, unnecessary consumptions. So, prestige goods, again we'll come to the point. Prestige goods are status symbol goods. Some expensive commodities like diamonds, air conditioned cars, costly ornaments, etc., are used as status symbols to display one's wealth. The more expensive these commodities become, the higher their value as a status symbol, and hence the greater the demand for them. You see, in these cases, in the case of prestigious goods, with a rise in their price, more will be demanded because it will give you more prestige. But with a fall in price, less will be demanded because You cannot get prestige from these goods. So, the more expensive these commodities become, the higher the value as a status symbol, and hence the greater the demand for them. The amount demanded of these commodities increase with an increase in their price and decrease with a decrease in their price. Status symbol goods are also known as Veblen goods. Veblen goods in economics. Veblen goods are a group of commodities for which people's preference for buying them increases at the price as their price increases, as greater price confers greater status instead of decreasing according to the law of demand. You see, Veblen goods means prestigious goods. Status symbol goods are also known as Veblen goods because for the first time the American economist T. Veblen has given this idea that in case of prestigious goods this law will not hold good, because in case of prestigious goods, more is the price, more will be demanded, and less is the price, less will be demanded, right? Because a greater price confers greater status to the people. So to increase their status, to increase their social prestige, they want to purchase these goods, and for this the law of demand does not hold good in case of prestige goods or Veblen goods, because more is demanded at a higher price and less is demanded at a lower price in case of prestige goods. And we'll come to point 3 now. Expectation regarding future prices. What is that? Expectations regarding future prices. If the price of a commodity is rising and is expected to further rise in future, the demand for the commodity will increase. And if the price of a commodity is falling and is expected to fall further in future, the demand for the commodity will fall. You see, in case of expectation regarding the change in price in future, if the price of a commodity has already increased, but if you expect a further increase in its price, naturally, instead of purchasing less, you will go for purchasing more of the commodity. It means at higher price you are going to purchase more. Why? Because you expect a further rise in its price in future. Similarly, if the price of a commodity is falling and is expected to fall further in future, price of a commodity is falling. It has already been reduced. If the price is already reduced, but if you expect that it will be further reduced, then what you will do? At a lower price, instead of purchasing more of the commodity, you will go to purchase less, because in future its price will further fall and you will purchase more of the commodity. So in this case also the law of demand does not hold good or does not operate. So it is also one exception of the law. Then we will come to the next point, that is number 4, emergency. At times of war, famine, etc., consumers have an abnormal behavior. If they expect shortage in goods, they would buy and hoard goods even at higher prices. In depression, they will buy less at even low prices. You see, these are the emergency situations. If there is war, there is famine, people will fear that these goods will not be available in future. So what is its price, they will not bother for it. They will go on purchasing the commodity even at a very high price, right? Similarly in depression condition, they will buy less even at a low price, right? Then the next point is quality price relationship. You see, it is another point, another exception to the law of demand. You see, people think that if a commodity is more qualitative, even at higher price they will go on purchasing more. If people think that it is of less quality, if it is of a lower quality, then even at a lower price they will not purchase it, right? So when they just relate the quality with its price, then the law of demand will not hold good. So quality price relationship, some people assume that expensive goods are of a higher quality than the low priced goods. They expect that when the price of a commodity is high, Naturally, it is qualitative. When the price of the commodity is low, it is not qualitative good. So, in this case, more goods are demanded at higher prices. So, it is one exception of the law of demand, that law of demand does not hold good when people bother for its quality. Next, number 6.6 is essential goods. The law of demand does not hold good in case of very essential goods like medicines. You see, medicines are most very essential goods. Without them, you cannot live. Life is impossible. So, yeah, we will not bother for the price. We have to purchase more of the medicine. We have to purchase the medicine, required medicine, whatever may be its price. Price may be low or may be high. We are not going to compare its price, right? Because that is the case of life and death. So, in this case, as medicine is very essential for human being, the law of demand does not hold good, because people are not going for its price. They just want they just want to purchase the good anyhow. Their consumption can neither be postponed nor substituted by any other good, right? We cannot postpone the consumption of medicine, or we cannot substitute the medicine for any other good, because that is the essential good and we have to take that, we have to consume that. So, in case of essential goods also, the law of demand does not hold good. And the last point is number 7: factors influencing demand do not remain constant. Besides the above, if other things like income of the consumer, price of the related goods, taste and preference, population size, etc., which influence demand, do not remain constant, this law will not operate. Right? So, if other things do not remain constant, other things means the factors which influence demand, they do not remain constant. If income of a person increases, then even at a higher price, people will go for purchasing more of the commodity, right? If income of a consumer falls, then even at a lower price is going to purchase less of the commodity. So, the law of demand does not operate in case when factors influencing demand do not remain constant. So, these are the factors, or these are the exceptions to the law of demand. And so, with this, we are we come to end the topic, right? So, till then, goodbye. We will meet in our next class and discuss another topic relating to demand. Till then, goodbye. Thank you all.